Hi everyone, and welcome back to my kitchen. I am super excited about today's dessert recipe. I'm going to show you guys how I make my raspberry lemon tartlets, and I've been wanting to share this recipe for quite some time, so I'm really excited that I finally got around to sharing it. We're going to start this recipe off with a short dough crust. We're going to make that, get that chilling, and then we're going to fill these little tartlets with my homemade lemon curd, add some fresh raspberry sauce on top, and finish these off with some meringue. These are so good. There's so much incredible flavor going on. These are perfect for any special occasion or family get together. Let me show you how I make these. And I'm going to start today's recipe off with the short dough first because it does need to chill in the refrigerator for a couple hours. So I have 1¼ cups of unsalted butter, and I've softened this butter at room temperature. I'm going to drop it into my mixer bowl. And to the butter, I'm going to add in ½ cup plus 2 tablespoons of white granulated sugar and ¼ teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to cream the butter and sugar together for about 2 to 3 minutes until they're light and creamy. And next, I'm going to add in 1 large egg and then continue mixing that for another minute. All right, I have a nice and creamy mixture, and then as you're mixing this, stop every once in a while and scrape down that mixing bowl to make sure that everything gets combined. But you want that the butter and the sugar and the eggs to have a really nice and creamy texture. And now we're ready to add our flour. So I have 3 cups of flour. I'm going to scoop it into this mixture all at once. Just drop it in. And then turn your mixer back on and mix this for about a minute until a soft dough forms. And then lightly flour your hands and knead the dough for about 30 seconds just to bring it together. You don't want to warm it up with your hands too much. You want to lightly flour your rolling pin and then roll the dough out very gently. So you don't want it to break or separate. And you want it to be about 1/8 of an inch thick. I have my dough rolled out, and so next I'm going to use a 2-inch round cookie cutter to cut out little pieces of dough for the tartlets. And today I'm going to be using this mini cupcake pan. Now, if you have special little tartlet tins, this is the perfect time to use them. So go ahead and use those instead of this pan. But this is just something that most everybody is going to have at home, so that's why I'm using this one today. All right, so grab that cookie cutter and dip it into a little bit of flour, and then cut out as many little circles as you can. And then you'll want to just gently lift that dough off your kitchen surface and then drop it gently into the mini cupcake pan. And I like to use a little spoon to kind of help shape the inside of the shells. All right, my tartlet shells are all done. I'm going to take this pan, place it into my freezer, and let them chill for at least an hour. You want that dough to be really nicely chilled before it hits the oven. While these are in the freezer, you can preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and then once they're done chilling, bake them for about 20 to 23 minutes until they have just a really light golden brown color on the outside of them. You don't want them to be too dark. And as the tartlet shells are chilling and then baking, it's the perfect time to make the rest of the filling. So I'm going to be using a homemade lemon curd. We're going to make a fresh raspberry sauce and a meringue to add on the top. So I already pre-made my homemade lemon curd. I have a separate video recipe for that. This is like the creamiest, smoothest, most delicious lemon curd, and it's gonna be perfect for this recipe. You can make the lemon curd the night before, even a couple days ahead of time, and then just keep it refrigerated until you're ready to use it. I'm going to include the link for this video down in the video description box below. And now let's make that raspberry sauce, or raspberry coulis. This is a super simple sauce with just raspberries and sugar. And for the raspberry sauce, I'm going to place 2 cups of fresh raspberries. You can also use frozen for this recipe, into a medium-sized saucepan. And I'm also going to add in ½ cup of white granulated sugar. I already turned on the heat on my saucepan to medium, and I'm going to grab a potato masher and just crush the berries into a pulp. And then I'm going to let the sauce come up to a simmer and let it simmer away for about 10 minutes over medium heat. And after cooking for 10 minutes, I'm going to pour this raspberry sauce into a fine mesh strainer that's set up over another bowl. And then I'm going to use the back of a spoon and press the berries through the fine mesh strainer until I have just the seeds left. I'm going to have a really nice sauce in the bottom of my bowl. And you want to keep pressing until you have just the seeds left. We're going to discard these, and we have this amazing raspberry sauce that we can use for the tartlets now. All right, so my tartlet shells are almost done cooling. What I did is I let them cool in the mini cupcake pan for about 20-25 minutes, and then I took out the shells and let them cool completely on a wire rack. So I have that all done. I have my raspberry sauce ready, my lemon curd is ready. We just have the meringue topping left to do. So I have 3 large egg whites. I'm going to place these into my mixer bowl. And I'm going to whisk the egg whites for about 2 to 3 minutes on high speed, just until soft peaks form. And while those egg whites are mixing, I'm going to start my sugar syrups. I have 1 cup of white granulated sugar. And to that, I'm going to add in a 1/3 cup of water, but do not stir it. Just pour it in and let the heat do its magic. I've attached a candy thermometer. I'm going to cook the sugar syrup over medium-high heat until it reaches 240 degrees Fahrenheit. So that takes anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes. I have my sugar syrup all ready to go. Egg whites are at soft peak stage. I'm going to pour the syrup in slowly with the mixer running on medium speed. I'm also going to add in a tablespoon of freshly squeezed lemon juice and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And I'm going to turn up the mixer speed up to high and whisk this for about 5 to 7 minutes until stiff and glossy peaks form. And how amazing does this meringue look? It's so light and fluffy. I'm going to transfer it out of my mixing bowl into a pastry bag, and today I'm using an open French star tip size number 8. And now it's time to assemble our tartlets. So I just arranged them on my cooling rack, and I transferred my lemon curd into a pastry bag. You can also just use a Ziploc bag. And I'm going to pipe them about 3/4 of the way full with the lemon curd. And then I'm going to pipe some of that raspberry sauce over the top. And then we're going to go over the top of the raspberry with a dollop of the meringue. And then I'm going to go through with a little food torch and torch the meringue on top. And that's it, guys, for our raspberry lemon meringue tartlets. I mean, how pretty are these? I love the torched meringue on top. Really gives them that beautiful finish. For the full recipe, just head on down into that video description box. I'll have a link there that'll take you over to my website so you can get the printable recipe for everything in one spot. Time to dig in and enjoy. Wow, these tartlets are just phenomenal and so dangerous because they're like really small, so you could probably have 4 or 5 of them in a minute. They're so delicious. I love that buttery, crumbly shortbread crust, and then you have that zesty lemon curd, that sweet and tart raspberry sauce. Top it all off with that torched meringue, and you have one amazing, out of this world dessert. You guys are gonna love this, trust me. For your next special occasion, holiday get together, party, you name it, make these and people are going to love them. I hope you guys enjoy them as much as I do. Thank you for watching, and don't forget you can get that recipe down in the video description box below. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.